Here we go, Michael. Well, we're live now in the studio,
Woo-hoo!
and I have with me Michael Henderson, and he's the owner of Tapestry Insurance Group. Woohoo is
Woohoo.
Right. We've been, well, the last time you were on, had to do it over the phone.
We did remote.
But we are here now in studio, live with everybody, live on Facebook. So hi to everybody out there. Like us and follow us. We're going to be sharing the show in a little while here. Okay, Michael, today before you came on, you said, Carol, I want to talk about some pitfalls that people go.
To Medicare.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I came up with this. These are, I guess, my opinion, but it's things that people will run into because they aren't educated. Which, as you know, what we do is educate people, right? So here's just a few things that I came up with, maybe to keep people from avoiding those things. So one is not getting your Medicare activated at the right time. We find that people don't know if they're still working or when they retire or when they should activate Medicare, and then we find sometimes that people get penalized. I mean, there's all sorts of things that happen. And it all comes from not getting educated on it. So that's one thing that really comes up is if you don't have your Medicare activated, you don't have coverage.
Well, that's
right?
not a very good thing. I was going to ask you, first of all, let me just tell you about Michael. He loves to educate people. He is here for you. He's your senior advocate is really what you are. And you help people in the entire Southwest. What I like about you, too, is every phone call, whether it's the toll-free or the direct line, every one of them goes straight to you. You get to know your clients. Let's talk a little bit about what it looks like when they call you, okay? And then I'm going to get some information out. And then I want to talk about a couple of things when you say that some people who don't know if they're working right now, if they're going to quit working, this and that, because I have a question about that. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I want you to talk about you and how it looks like when they talk to you first.
Yeah. So, when somebody calls me, I'm on the phone an awful lot. So if they call me and you get a voicemail, first of all, leave a message because they all come to me. I don't have somebody to answer the phone. We do have an office manager in office, but I don't have these calls. This number that you're giving out. It's my number. So so these calls come to me. So leave a message first of all if you don't get me. But second of all, I want to get to know that person a little bit and make sure that I get you with an agent that is going to be able to help you. So in other words, if you're in New Mexico, or you're in southern Arizona or something like that, I don't want to put you with an agent in Sun City. Yeah, right? So I'm going to put you with an agent that's close to your area, that knows your market, that knows the plans, so that you have that local service.
Right. Now, when you talk with him, first of all, you need to understand this is a free service for you. There is no gimmicks whatsoever. Don't ever think that way because they do get paid by the carriers. That's what that's about.
Yep, exactly right. We get paid by the carriers. So if you do change a plan with one of our agents, then they will get reimbursed from the carrier. So we don't charge people to talk to us. You'll never get a bill from one of our agents or anything like that. We're here to educate. If you happen to be go onto a plan that we represent, then we do get paid from the carrier.
And what Michael says is every day is a Medicare day, and it really truly is, especially when you have some questions about this turning 65. A lot of people do not ask your neighbors. Don't call the big numbers on the television. Call him and leave a message so that he can get back to you if he doesn't answer right away. That number to call is 602-541-7656, and toll free it's 800-506-8810. He services the entire Southwest. It's tapestryinsuranceGroup.com. So my question to you about, I was thinking about what you said about people, maybe they work for someone, but there's also a lot of people who don't work for someone that are on their own. They're solopreneurs. Yeah. They too could also make mistakes just the same, even more maybe.
Well, of course, and that's one of our top 5. But it's first of all, it's getting educated because if you work for somebody and they have a group plan, that's a different scenario. You may be better off to stay on that group plan for a little while. Although we have seen, since rates have gone up and deductibles have gone up, that actually Medicare becomes better. So you can go off that group plan and go on to Medicare. So that's where evaluation and education comes in. You never know till you check it out, right?
Right.
So don't assume because you've been on that plan at your employer for 20 years that it's still the best one now that you're 65.
Now, here's another thing. I had said earlier, don't ask your friend or neighbor.
Yeah.
Don't go on the same plan as them.
Yep.
Because you know what? Their plan doesn't necessarily work for you.
Not necessarily. That's my number 2, I believe, right? It's going on the same plan as a friend or neighbor just because they say it's the best one for them. And it may be the best one for them. But your situation, your financial situation, your medical situation, your doctors, they might all be different. And so goes back to education, because you want to get the plan that's right for you.
I am not 65 yet, but I am 62, so everybody I know is in that age group,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
And I hear a lot of people that, especially when you're starting to turn 64, 65, all of a sudden they're talking about it, right?
Yep.
And every time I hear them talking, I say to them the same thing. You need to call someone who's educated like Michael, because Michael will give you he's arming you with good information to, make decisions, good decisions, basically.
That's what we try to do, yeah. As an example, the not knowing when to go on Medicare and going on the same plan as your neighbor, we just had a call into our office. The woman is 67, and she makes less than $1,000 a month, and but she didn't go on to Medicare because she couldn't afford the Part B. But she didn't know that if she would have just talked to somebody local like us, that she could apply for a program that would pay that Part B for her because she's less than $1,000 a month. So there's so much stuff there, and there's just way too much to go over on the radio, even though I've been on for over a year.
I know.
We just can't cover it all. But so it's just education. Give a local agent a call, which I think is my number 3. Talk to a local agent, preferably us, but just talk to a local agent, because you need the information. And somebody sitting in a call center in Michigan or Florida does not know your local market.
Right. I think that's the most important thing. Sometimes people, they resonate with somebody that's sitting on television because they see him in a sitcom or whatever,
right?
on the football field,
Yeah.
right? And we get that, but they're not the people you're really talking to.
Yeah.
You want to talk to somebody who is right here in your area, and with you get to know each and every one of your clients personally. You stay with them. I know that for a long time. You educate them every year, because there's always new questions.
New questions. Yeah, our goal is to make sure that we're helping you for the long term. So the goal is initially to get you on the right plan, because that's going to keep your medical care stabilized, and financials hopefully stabilized. But if something changes, we can always change that plan to a new plan if there's an election period. So yeah, it again goes back to education.
Before you give number 4, first of all, his phone number again, 602-541-7656. Toll free, it's 800-506-8810. He services the entire Southwest. It's a free service to you. It makes sense to sit and talk to someone like Michael, who's educated and will help you understand all about Medicare, because there's so many questions to it anyway. Free service to you. I want you to go up on his website. It's tapestryinsurancegroup.com.
Correct.
4, real quickly. Number 4.
Number 4, not checking your medications. So different plans have different formularies, different costs for medications. That can really impact your cost for a year. You need to check those medication costs to make sure you're going on the right plan. Now you got to, again, education, you got to couple that with everything else to make sure it's right. But medications are a big one these days.
You know what? I never even realized that, because I'm not even sure if we've ever talked about that before. Each medicine, like you said, has different formulations. So one plan might pay for one and another one might not, or 3 or whatever it is. So you really have to find out exactly everything. Do people try and even do these things on their own and try and go online and do it?
Some do. Yeah, you can. There's tools online, but it's very confusing.
It's gotta be.
Think, insulin. Think about insulin. There's Humalog, Humulin, Novolog, so, and some formularies cover one but not the other. Just something as simple as insulin. You can't just say, hey, I'm on insulin and
yeah, because there's a lot of different kinds.
Yeah.
And this is where Michael comes in. He will help you understand Medicare, help you educate you, for you to understand how to make some decisions. You might want to change a plan. And most times when you talk to people, do they end up changing?
Some do, some don't. I mean,
Just
sometimes they are on the right plan, and we're not going to change you if you're on the right plan. I mean, there's just no sense in it.
Right. So give him a call. His number is 602-541-7656, 800-506-8810. We're going to go to a break. He's the most fun guy I've ever met, but also educates everybody. Woohoo! We're going to go to a break. We'll be right back. You were flying through these.
I know, we went through them too fast.
I know.
Oh,
It's
well,
okay.
That's all right.
We're still talking on
We are.
Facebook.
Are
So
we talking on this?
yes, this
Or
well, both actually
Both.
So yeah, when you're talking to people, okay, what's the biggest question you always get? Well, the first question always everybody seems to ask.
Everybody's situation is so different. And so they all have personal questions, right? So this woman that just called in last night or this morning, I don't know when the message came through to our office. Her situation is so different than the last person I talked to, for instance, and she just doesn't know what to do. She can't afford Medicare. Medicare Part B is $148 a month, the base price for it. And she can't afford it, but she doesn't know that in her situation she doesn't have to pay for it.
See, I think also people think that Medicare is free.
Yep.
I think they do, and they don't realize. And sometimes it can be kind of pricey unless you have where you come in to help them to kind of balance it out. Where then it could be way less.
Yeah. So if they worked enough during their lifetime, Part A is something that they get at 65. If they have worked, it's 10 years, 40 quarters, 40 credits they have to have worked and paid into Medicare. And but Part B, you're right, there's a cost for Part B. And the base rate's 148. It can be lower for like my woman that has low income that I was talking about. But people don't know that unless they check.
Right.
Yeah.
I think they really need to make sure that people check things out,
Yeah.
and I don't know why people don't. I'm curious about sometimes when people don't know when they hear this. They know they hear these kinds of things that are out there for them, but they don't make the phone call.
It's so confusing that I think it's a fear, and people get paralyzed because there's a lot of choices and a lot of information, and so people get so fearful that they don't do anything. I run into that a lot.
Really?
And by not doing anything, obviously,
We're going to mention that.
some money.
That's like number 6 on the list. We should make that number 6.
Fear. Don't do anything out of fear, or doing nothing out of fear.
Doing nothing out of fear.
We came up with one while we're sitting here.
Yeah.
my 5 list turned into 6. At
Just while we're here.
12:47 today.
That's what we're going to do. We're going to tell them that right on. I'm going to tell them right on the air that that's what we did.
Which goes back to education, right?
It all does.
Comes back to education. Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, you still got the Canara guys on.
Huh?
You still got the Canara guys on.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Lots of them. So welcome back, everyone. Woohoo! Michael is here. Michael, we're talking about Medicare, the questions that people have. And as we're sitting here, we had 5 before we came on. And as we're at the break, all of a sudden we came into 6 because what did I ask you now? Okay, about people and having not doing anything. And you said, and I said, I bet you anything is fear. They have fear. And what did you say?
Yeah, there is Medicare is so confusing because of everything that's out there and all this information you start getting information at like 64.
I'm getting it now.
64.
I'm getting it.
Yeah.
It's like crazy.
Yeah, and so all that information just piles up on the counter or it gets thrown in the trash. And so people out of confusion or out of fear actually then end up doing nothing. You'd be surprised out of how many people do nothing, and it costs them in the long run.
Right.
And again,
Down to education,
right?
Yeah, that's the name of your show. Back to education.
Education with Michael. No.
Yeah.
Medicare is confusing if you don't have somebody break it down for you, and that's what we're here to do. We try to put it we take it out of government lingo and put it in person lingo.
Right.
Because when you think about it, really, that fear comes from not ever having done anything with insurance. Most people that work for a corporation for their lifetime that had group benefits, they just take the group benefits that employer provided, and they don't question it because they can't really. And if the company, it gives them a choice between one or two plans, they might look at how much is coming out of their paycheck for it and their deductible.
Right.
That's if they go really deep, right?
Right. I hear you.
And so that's what most people know about insurance is what their employers gave them. Now they turn 65 and the floodgates open. And so it creates a lot of confusion.
But you're here to bring them down to
We're here to close the floodgates.
And to educate them, to understand. There's so many different parts that go into Medicare. I even said that when we were talking, I think a lot of people think Medicare is free, and it's not free, but it can be expensive if you don't talk to somebody. But if you talk to somebody, that's where you come in, and what happens?
Well, it can help because we can help avoid. Like in the first segment, we talked about the woman who is 67. She's been eligible for Medicare for 2 years, never gone on to Medicare Part B. She's had Part A because she's worked enough, but never wanted a Part B because there's a $148 charge for it. She didn't know because of her income that charge gets wiped out for her. Actually, Social Security will pay that.
I bet you when she was talking, especially someone like that,
Yeah.
that couldn't afford it,
Yeah.
that you must have made her day.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. Yeah, we had another one this week, same situation. She was making about $1,800 a month before COVID hit, and then during COVID, her hours got cut. Anyway, in September was her last week at work, her last paycheck, and now she's only making $975 or $8 a month. And so we were able this week to get her Medicare reimbursed through the applications we did and things like that. So now she's saving some money as well.
So you must be finding that now. You just said you just got another call, and I'm going to say you're probably going to get more because a lot of people out there, unfortunately, with COVID, maybe the business closed that they were working for. They're no longer hours cut, probably big time, right?
Yeah.
So you might be seeing that even more so.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of people going on to Access, which is Medicaid in the state of Arizona, and Medicaid and Access, or Medicaid and Medicare work together, so we can help with both, and that's how they get that $148 paid for them, which is that ad they see on TV all the time. People don't realize that 144, 148, they have to qualify for that to get it. It's income related.
Right, and they don't make it sound like that on television.
They make it sound like everybody gets it.
Everybody gets it. It's not like that. But that's where Michael comes in. He is your seniors advocate, and he really gets to know you. I love that about you. Each one of your clients, you find out their story, because everyone has a story when it comes to this, and everyone's story is different.
Yeah, everybody has a story. You asked during the break, what's your most common question? And my answer was, I don't know that there's a most common question, because everybody's situation is so different, right? Not everybody's in the financial situation of somebody else or the medical situation, So yeah, lots of differences.
And you like to talk, and you like to get to know people.
Could you tell?
And but also you are unbelievably kind, friendly, and fun. That's for sure. And you're all about educating your clients. And so when they get to know you, you get to know them. You make it a long-term relationship. We
want it to be, because the less somebody moves their policy around and doesn't get caught up in these sales things and stuff, the better for them, because their doctors stay stable, their benefits stay stable, so financially and from a medical standpoint, it just ends up better. Now, if a situation changes, obviously we want to change the plan.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, again, his phone number is 602-541-7656. Leave a message. Leave a message. He says a lot of times people call, and for some reason people don't leave messages. I don't know, maybe they're too lazy or they're busy. They can't leave a message, but I'm telling you now, leave a message.
Well, a lot of people will just see the caller ID and call that number back. We can't in Medicare. We have to have permission to call back. So unless I talk to you, I don't know that you want to talk to me. It may be a misdialed number. So if I call somebody just with the assumption they want to talk to me about Medicare,
It's against the
I'm not
rules.
supposed to do that.
So there's
Yeah.
a lot of rules
Yeah.
on both sides of the game here. They really are.
Yeah.
So, there's a reason why we say to leave a message, because you can't just look at the phone number. And I hate that people do that anyway. Believe me, just, you don't leave a message and, I'm going to just call it. It's a waste of time. Leave a message.
Leave a message. I'll call you back.
And that number to call, 602-541-7656. The toll-free number is 800-506-8810. It's a Medicare day every day.
Every
He
day.
services the entire Southwest. And also his website is tapestryinsuranceGroup.com. So guess what? We skipped over 5. We got to bring that in.
Well,
what was number 5?
We just said we added to number 6, and we have so we have.
We
6
can go
now.
on to 10, but right now we're going to just go to 5.
I want to. Well, we'll do that now because I lost my train of
Okay,
thought.
because I messed him up with nothing. Good.
So we talked about looking up your prescription drugs, right? Because there's cost associated with prescription drugs, and plans can impact that. So not looking at that to make sure that you have good coverage there. The second thing that people don't check sometimes is their doctors. So some of these plans, the Medicare Advantage plans, for instance, are network-based plans, and you got to make sure that your doctor is in network and also your specialists. So if you have a primary care doctor and a specialist that you love, we need to make sure they're in the network of the plan you're looking at as well. So there's a lot of things that can dictate what direction we go with stuff.
And that's very important to a lot of people.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you have a cardiologist that saved your life,
I'm sorry, I'm
you're
going
to
to
stick
him.
with them, right?
Yeah.
Or you're going to want to.
Yeah.
So that's the last thing we want to change. Now, obviously, if somebody's moving in here, by the way, I read an article. We're one of the top 5 states people are moving to from California.
Oh yeah, well I did too.
Did you
I
know
moved.
that?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
moved here from
Well, I
California.
mean, like recently,
Well,
now.
there must be because I don't know why.
Hey, it's a great place, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. But people that are moving here, we can help you find a doctor. Now, I don't recommend doctors but we have doctors that we know that we have a lot of clients with that are doing a good job. So we can help you find a doctor in your area, that type of thing.
So here's what I see is there's a lot of people that, first of all, going and looking and doing research is kind of not their thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but that's your thing. Researching, finding out the doctors that you're liking, are they in your plan? The taking care of your clients is what it's all about. And doing the research is part of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of good plans out there, Carol. You can go onto a plan, and if you're willing to change doctors and stuff, you're not going to get, for lack of a better term, in trouble with it. But we want to try to find the best plan for you. And in doing that, we want to research stuff, make sure that your doctors, make sure that your drugs are in, because there could be a plan that's better. It's saving you more money or giving you better benefits or something like that. So that's what we try to do. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you something right now. I know for a fact because, I know people who are 65 and
I do too.
it changes. I'm sure you do, and it changes there's always new questions, right? And all of a sudden you've been given another medication.
Yep.
What happens when that happens? Now you're being given more.
Mm-hmm.
How do they have to change? Do they have to talk to you then, or do they keep on going? How does it work?
That's a good question. Generally, we all hear about annual enrollment period, which is October 15th through December 7th. We've been talking about that a lot the last quarter of the year. But there are other election periods. So generally, for most people, that election period's the one. If you haven't moved, if there's nothing changed, that may be the one. But there's a lot of other election periods. So just because you think you're stuck in a plan, and you can still give us a call, because we can research and talk to you about your situation. Again, everybody's situation is different. You may have an election period. Low income actually is a special election period. So for the woman that I was mentioning, well, I mentioned 2, but one of them, she had an election period to change plans.
There's always a good time to talk.
Yeah.
And there's never a bad time, and there's no stupid question.
Any day's a Medicare day.
Only if you don't leave a message. That's the only thing that's kind of stupid, because he can't call you back because there's rules on that.
Yeah.
But the best thing to do is have that conversation with him. It's a free conversation, as well as all of his services are free to you. Michael is here for you. He's your seniors advocate. His phone number again, 602 541-7656, toll free. It's 800-506-8810. He services the entire Southwest. The website is Tapestry Insurance Group. He's one of my faves. Woohoo! I love that he's here in the studio.
Weekend.